maybe some progress on the Major League Baseball front. Sure hope so. The latest offer, 60 games offer made to players. Rob Manfred and Tony Clark have spoken. They have met. There's been some progress. There's now seemingly a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it's 60, maybe it's 65, maybe it will happen. But then again, haven't we heard this before? Joining us to talk about that, his own career, and even minor league baseball, among other things, is a guy whose name you'll recognize and should. He's a guy that made good. And was an outstanding player at Jesuit High School. And I was fortunate to do a few games of his, and then went on to have a very successful minor league baseball career and got his way to the majors in 2011 and stayed there on and off and by and large for 7 years to earn some nice pension, and was a good player and is a great guy. And he's back home as we speak, which is great. Pleasure to welcome Johnny Giavotella to the show. Johnny, listen, thanks for joining us and welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kenny. How you guys doing?
It's all good, man. Glad to be able to connect with you. And I laugh because I end up talking about you infrequently because I spend time over at Geo's quite a bit and can't get away from Travis and talk about you, right? So it's part of.
They're not going to hold their tongue talking about a fellow Giavotella, that's for sure.
It's all good, but then we also get into the Rummel Jesuit conversation when that happens, and the split family and who's the better son and all that stuff. Which my response to him is, you can't go wrong. Okay, they're both good.
Yeah,
they
can get a little dangerous.
All that,
people from New Orleans are very proud of their high school where they went.
Well, you would have looked good in scarlet, red, and Columbia blue too, but you looked real good in royal blue, so it's all good, man. And
I appreciate it.
Of course, hey, listen, my pleasure. And listen, I want to start there because you played at Zephyr Field in high school. I remember you pitching a state championship game there, and that was a great experience. And the stadium was still in pretty good shape at that point. But then you also played minor league baseball there, of course, coming into town with the Royals, Storm Chasers, whatever they were called, depending on the year. And maybe it wasn't in the best of shape. Talk about your experience of playing at the ballpark and the pluses and minuses there.
Well, first of all, the first year that Zephyr Field, now the Shrine on Airline, held the state championship game in high school, it was the first year that they held it. Was my senior year. The first year that we made it to state, my senior year was the first year that was at Zephyr Field, and so I have very fond memories of going there and playing, not only in high school but college and at the professional ranks as well. So I have a lot of good memories. I remember when we first played, there was a huge field. It was big for a college facility, or for a high school facility, sorry. And then when I got to college, playing Tulane and LSU and those big confines was incredible. So I have a lot of good memories. It feels like yesterday, but that was almost 15 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, time flies. But yeah, definitely appreciate the nostalgia over at Zephyr Field.
It's kind of sad that the AAA baseball team departed after last season to Wichita, to a brand new facility. Of course, there's no minor league baseball this year, which is another story I'll get into. But I know you feel, as I do, that there's a void here, that you'd love to see professional baseball back here in Metairie and the New Orleans area, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that New Orleans is a baseball town. You look at how many kids play the game 12 months out of the year in this city. It's unbelievable. And I think that if you can get a good product, a good talented team, I think fans would come. And I certainly see it, playing at UNO. And when I was younger, I'd go to the UNO baseball games because they had a good team. And I think that if you're able to put together a good product over on Airline at Zephyr Field, I think you'll see the fans really come out.
And it's the right price. It's family entertainment. And then local ownership. How important is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think New Orleans is a sense of pride, and it's local businesses, and to see Zephyr Field go from what I remember when I was playing there as a minor leaguer to only having maybe 1,000, 2,000 fans at the game. If they could build it up to $6,000-7,000 a night, I think people will really take pride in how much they were able to turn that franchise around.
Johnny Giavotella with us. I know the Jesuit experience was a really good experience, and you touched on the state championship, which I brought up, winning at Zephyr Field at that time. And that was great. The University of New Orleans experience. Tom Walter brought you in, a good friend of mine, who I thought did a remarkable job under difficult circumstances that were presented to him there. And I know you had a really good experience there and part of NCAA teams also.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first came to UNO, I was a right fielder and second baseman, didn't really know where I'd be able to fit in the lineup. But Tom Walter gave me a shot, and I was able to be the starting second base for the opening day as a freshman, and my career kind of blossomed from there. But to get my start over at UNO, just getting an opportunity was super important for me, and I owe a lot of credit to Coach Tom Walter for giving me that shot early on in my career and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, great guy, and he loves this place, still does, and I still keep in touch with Tom. Terrific guy. Professional baseball, you get the opportunity, and of course you got to overcome all of the stereotypes. Oh, well, he's not tall. He's not overly fast. He doesn't hit for power. You had to earn what you got every step of the way. You're not the highly touted prospect that's the stereotypical, looks the type, ticketed for the majors. You had to fight and earn and hit your way to the majors, didn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 5'8", 185 pounds, and my freshman year of college, I ran a 7.260, which is very slow from middle infield standards. So I didn't really have a whole lot of tools. But when I step on that field, I feel like I'm the biggest player in that uniform. And especially when I'm in the batter's box, I don't think there's many people that could swing the stick like I could. And I had that confidence that it didn't matter how big you were, you still got to put the barrel on the ball, and they still have to come to you. It's not like it's football where it's more physical and the stronger person usually wins. There's a lot of technique and a lot of skill in baseball, and if you're small, you're still able to succeed. That's the mentality I've always had, and I accepted the challenge at every level, and I wanted to be the best in the field, no matter where I was. And I think that mindset helped me get to the big leagues.
2011, you got that call. It's the call that everybody dreams of and hopes for. And by the way, you don't know this, but I went to Kaufman to go see you play. I wanted to, and I made the trip and did that when you were there. And I've done this. I did the same thing for Thomas Diamond, having done his games at UNO, and went to see him pitch in St. Louis when he was with the Cubs. But I went to see you there. But talk about what that call was like and how emotional it was and how special it was to you when you were told that you're going up.
Well, I didn't know that you made that game, Ken, so I really appreciate you covering it. It means a lot to me. But I just got done a AAA game. It was a rain delayed game, and it was about 10:30 at night when the game ended. The manager in AAA calls me aside and says, "Listen, John, I know that we work every day with your infield. Tonight was a late game. Do you still want to do infield tomorrow?" And I kind of paused, and I thought about it for a second, and he pauses, and he goes, "Oh, would you rather go to the big leagues? You just got called up. They need you in Kansas City tomorrow night." And that was probably the best moment of my career, possibly life. Just having everything kind of come to fruition and making it to that highest level of baseball was definitely emotional, and it was a huge accomplishment. My family and friends got to come up and see me. And not only that, but I had a great weekend. I went 5 for 9 with 2 doubles and a home run. Faced some intense competition. I faced Rick Porcello, Justin Verlander, and Max Scherzer, all 3 Cy Young winners. So I had my work cut out for me, but did great. Proved that I should be there, and got to do it in front of my friends and family. So it was a fantastic weekend.
Johnny Giavotella visiting with us, and of course, the Royals had a really good farm system, and they were just producing some terrific young talent at that time and became a championship team, a world championship team. And so it was not an easy time to be part of that organization. It wasn't like the organization starving for talent and opportunity was there. That was a tough place to be to get a shot.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I came up with all those guys. Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, Danny Duffy, Gerard Dyson, Lorenzo Cain. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think there was like 12 people that got called up that same year in 2011, and all of us had pretty good big league careers. And it makes you better, honestly. Come up with that kind of talent helps you realize what it takes to be a good big league ball player, and to see it every day, to see the work ethic of these guys, and to go out and win and compete with them, helped me become better and helped me develop as a major league ball player.
Mike Scioscia finally gave you the opportunity that you'd always asked for, which was to be basically an everyday player. You get the at-bats that you always sought in 2015, and you produced. You had a very solid season, put up solid numbers, dependable player, and you followed that up in 2016 with a pretty good year too. But and then they moved on from you. That had to be difficult. And again, you had to earn it every step of the way. Nothing was ever going to be handed to you, but I know you appreciated the opportunity you got in Anaheim.
Absolutely. You know, in Kansas City, I had a brief opportunity. You know, they were a very defensive conscious team, and offense was more my skill. So they didn't really give me a great shot to be an everyday guy. Anytime you have an at-bat in the big leagues is a shot, so I can't say they didn't give me any shot, but I would have liked to have a little bit longer of a leash than what I did, but it's baseball. It's a business at that level, and you can't take it personal. But when I got to the Angels, I was at the third or fourth second baseman in spring training coming in, and I was able to beat everybody out and won the opening day second baseman job, the first opening day that I had ever gotten to be a part of at the big league level, and I did it for 2 years, was the everyday second baseman. And it was probably the joy of my career, just being able to play every single day on second base with Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, Eric Ibar, Anderson Simmons, David Freese. I mean, unbelievable ball players, and to show what I could do in front of all those guys, and to be the second best hitter on the team in 2015 was really gratifying for me, and it was a surreal time.
Well, being a Cardinals fan from the time I was a little kid, mentioning Pujols and Freese certainly made me smile a little bit. So those guys were big in the lore of St. Louis Cardinal history, that's for sure. You know, final opportunity with Baltimore in 2017. And then, you know, even, you know, signed with the Marlins and even played here briefly in New Orleans. And what did you decide? When did you decide that was enough and that, you know, it was time to move on in your life?
I was kind of forced to retire, to be honest, Ken. My last year playing, I was in tremendous pain. I had a bad hip that I kind of played with throughout my entire career, but it got to a point where I could barely even run to first base. I couldn't even get to the ballpark without limping, and I needed to have surgery and ultimately got my hip fully replaced. I just had severe arthritis, and I was bone on bone in that right hip just from all the torque and turning on that right side throughout my entire career, hitting and throwing. Just took a toll on me, and I was kind of forced to retire. If I didn't have the hip problem, I'd probably still be playing. I mean, I'm still 32. You know, I feel great besides my right hip. But yeah, I mean, baseball is a very grueling season. You know, you play 162 games in about 170 days, and it's very tough and taxing your body. So I just got to a point where I physically couldn't do it anymore.
Well, you coached for a little bit at your alma mater, the University of New Orleans, and decided to move on from that, and now you're back in the education business for the time being, correct?
Yeah, so I got drafted after my junior year of baseball, and so I needed to go back for my senior year to get my degree at UNO. So I did that 2 years ago. I got my degree in business, and I was also a volunteer assistant baseball coach while I was getting my degree. So once my degree ended, you know, that position at UNO ended as well. And so I transferred right from there to get my master's in business at Tulane. So I'm getting my master's right now. You know, looking to continue into, you know, building my real estate portfolio once my career's over with, possibly selling some real estate or giving hitting lessons. You know, kind of keeping an open mind and looking to help you know, my business career as much as I can at this point.
And we started off with the whole concept of baseball as a whole. We're looking at, I mentioned the minor league baseball and what we hope can happen here in the New Orleans area again, but here we are in a year where Major League Baseball is planning to contract 40 to 45 minor league baseball teams. That's a lot of cities and a lot of jobs and a lot of entertainment gone away. And, of course, they fired, upwards of 1,000 minor league players. A couple organizations decided they were going to pay them after all, not having any minor league season this year. And then with the majors and the inability to get together, it looks like finally some progress is being made. I love the game. I know you do. How troubling is this to watch these developments, starting with the minor league contractions and then with the major league situation and the inability to agree to get on the field to this point in time.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see. People ask me all the time what I think of the situation, and I'm not in those negotiation rooms, so I can't speak, too accurate on it. But what I do know is that the nation needs some hope and some normalcy. I know baseball gives people that hope and that sense that things are getting back to normal. So I know there's a lot of loops and things that need to be taken care of before players take the field with their own safety and negotiations with pay and whatnot. And it just seems like to me that the owners just need to kind of be a little bit more lenient to give the players what they want, because at the end of the day, it's the players who are playing, it's the players' health that's at risk. And so, the players want to play. I've talked to a few guys that can't wait to get back on the field to what they get paid and enjoy doing. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to happen relatively soon to get back on the field. But it is tough not to be able to sit back and watch a game during the summertime.
Yeah, listen, I don't take sides. The Baseball Players Union is the strongest in professional sports. That's been proven time and time again. And yet the public has a hard time understanding why millionaires and billionaires can fight it out like this. And again, more than anything else, for the sake of the game, I hope they can accomplish things. But look, you rose up through the minors. You played at every level, and you saw what it was like for small-town USA to have a minor league team and how much it meant to that market. That's troubling to me about all the contractions, in particular at the lower levels in A-ball and short season and such, because a lot of those marketplaces, that's the biggest thing in those markets, right?
Yeah, I played for a lot of really small cities that have a minor league ball team, and they really get behind their players and their team, and it's really fun to be a part of. You feel like you're a part of the community and a part of these fans' lives. And so I'm sure that they're really struggling, as is the rest of the nation during this crisis. It's sad to see that minor leaguers aren't able to work and have a job. I know that there's some major league teams that are still paying the minor league players, which is a huge tip of the hat for me to see. I think the Royals, my old team, maybe the Brewers are still doing that, which is huge. But yeah, it's tough to see a lot of these cities not be able to get back to their normal ways of going to their local team and rooting their players on. Hopefully it happens again next year where teams can come back and play. But yeah, I feel for them, and I know that a lot of the players are wishing that they could play right now.
No doubt. And a final thought on the real estate, getting the Masters and so forth and everything that's taking place, and yet you wouldn't mind being involved in the broadcast, Dan, in particular with baseball in the future, correct?
Well, I definitely like to stay in the game in some form or fashion, whether it's coaching or giving lessons. I really know the game well. I have a lot of experience with the game, so I think not passing on that knowledge to others would be a detriment to their development of knowledge. So I definitely intend to stay in the game in some form or fashion. I still need to make some money somehow, and support my family. So depending on what level I am in the game, I can't say, but I would definitely like to stay in the game as much as I can.
Well, I'm going to have to let you get away because I got to make a call and order a pepperoni pizza from Gio, so I'm going to have to move on from that.
They're the best in the city.
Listen, they do such a good job. Fresh ingredients and Italian music and talking to the family on a regular basis. It's all good and a nice little shrine to you, too. And they're very proud of you, as they should be, and we all are. And Johnny, listen, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Happy that things are going well for you in these strange times. And nothing but the best. Wish you well, and I'm here to help in any way moving forward. You hear?
Ken, thanks for having me on, and good luck moving forward to you as well.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Johnny Giavotella. Pleasure to visit with Johnny. Really good guy.